Welcome back to Fox 9 Sports Now. The Vikings brought in 14 free agents. That's quite a few when you see this team change things up. Vikings analyst Pete Bercich still with us, and a lot of those guys were on the defensive side of the ball, as the Vikings couldn't or wouldn't match the price for Danielle Hunter. Instead, they bring in Jonathan Grenard. So many different pieces. Let's just talk about the defense in general, because it was a pretty good defense last year, much better than the year before, and
with the same people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now those pieces are gone.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing a bit of a you look at DJ Wanham and you look at Danielle Hunter. They're 4-3 defensive ends who de-evolved and learned to stand. Right, you know, they were standing on the outside, so they were really defensive ends that were pressed into service as outside linebackers. Van Ginkel and Grenard are real, true outside linebackers, which may not help defending the run, because they obviously don't have the size of the guys that we already have, but they have the speed, but they also have the versatility. So it's going to give Flores some opportunity. I mean, we would see DJ Wanham and Danielle Hunter drop into coverage, and basically they were just standing there. You know, they really weren't that effective, whereas these guys that they brought in, there was a lot more versatility to them, and they're going to be able to do a lot more.
So how will Grenard be used? What will Vikings
he'll be Danielle Hunter's replacement.
Okay.
And the other thing that's why it's interesting with Dallas Turner too is that, and even Cashman as a linebacker ran a lot of D-line stunts. He participated in a lot of blitzes and things. He's not just an off-the-ball linebacker. So now you have 4 or 5 different guys that can cover, but at the same time can operate inside the tackle box, especially on third down, right? So, you know, you kind of see Grenard as a guy that you play Where's Waldo, and you figure out where are they weakest in their offensive line, and then you find a way to get that speed and that power. That's why I'm interested to seeing is the type of strength and power that he has as an interior rusher. You know, like Zadarius Smith, right? Zadarius Smith was an outside linebacker, but he was an interior pass rusher on third down. That's where he got most of his sacks. He wasn't using speed moves to beat tackles on the outside. He was taking guards. Well, that's what I'm interested to see. But if he doesn't, you still have some other options, right? Okay. And that's what's I think the most telling thing of the free agents that we brought in is that these guys are all, you know, like Cashman and Ivan Pace. You know, Ivan Pace was really more of a outside linebacker or a defensive end in college than he was a linebacker. Cashman, again, great job running stunts, stick stunts, and ETs and TEs with linebackers. Linebackers don't, by nature, just do those things. He's worked with Grenard before, so the two of them have a rapport. You know what I mean? That's going to help them too. So the versatility with the personnel is going to be a lot more. You know, Flores is going to have the opportunity to use these guys in a lot of different ways, disguise things in different ways, right? You're not going. I don't know if you're going to get a guy like Danielle who can get, especially the way he did last year, and get after the quarterback and the pressure he can put on and what he can do to a 360-pound or 330-pound defensive tackle, right?
Yeah.
You know, do you have that guy? I don't. You know, I don't think we have that same type, but. You know, you're sacrificing a little bit in one area to pick up some other things, and I think like everybody else, we trust Flores to figure this thing out, and I think you're giving him exactly what he wants from that standpoint.
So, do you think Flores was in the draft room, or when they were talking about free agency, going like, this right here,
right?
This is what you're picking.
Yeah, I mean,
do you think they pretty much gave him autonomy and said, this is my guy?
Well. You know, the words that you hear coming from TCO is what? Collaborative, right? It's collaborative. Well, that's what that means, right? That's what that means. Everybody has to have their own opinion, and you know, you buy into things. But we do run a very unique defense. Our defense is pretty much one of a kind. You really don't see any other defenses in the league like ours, is from a schematic standpoint. So yeah, the good news of that is you can get some really unique players like an Ivan Pace who has certain skills.
Right.
If he had all the skills, he wouldn't have been undrafted, right?
Exactly.
So you could take a guy like him and plug him into your system, and the kid can produce and be a starter, not just a starter, but a productive starter. And that's his job, is to know what type of a player does he want to bring in. And so you'd lean on him to say, yeah, I want him. And then, you don't turn around then and go say, well, how much should I pay him? That's not his job. No. Your job is just to say, yeah, I want this guy badly. And then it's my job to figure out how much that means in dollars.
All right, so the Vikings used their second first-round pick. As you said, that was huge on draft night, on a defender who could be used in a multitude of ways, trading up to nab Dallas Turner. So what can we expect from this guy in a rookie season? Will they bring him along slowly, or do you see him thrown right in?
He'll be out. I think he'll be out there from day one. I think we'll see him on third downs, off the ball, walking around. Again, this is something that's going to be really. You can put him and Grenard on the same side. You can put those guys both interior and let them do their things. You watch this kid move around, and he's an unbelievable athlete. Has a lot, and also shows strength and power. Now, his consistency with being physical, that's going to be a big part of it. I mean, guys can win with speed. Very few can win with speed or power, right?
Right.
A good, strong power rush, a guy who can take a guy down the middle and march him back into the lap of the quarterback in my opinion, is going to be more effective more consistently than a guy that's just about speed, right? Kayvon Thibodeau is one of my examples. He'll get his 7, 8, 9 sacks a year, but they're all going to be the same kind. They're going to be running around the edge of the tackle and getting in space and then making a great play. He's an athletic player. The guys that like Aaron Donald and some of these other guys that are just consistently in the face of the quarterback, getting pressure on the quarterback, are the ones that could take a guy down the middle and make an offensive lineman just backpedal, right? So will he be able to do that? I can't wait to see what this kid can do. I think he can cover a little bit better than we give him credit for, and they're going to use him in coverage, I think, quite a bit more maybe than we think. The last couple of years, again, we've been staring at defensive ends that were converted to outside linebackers. So
right. We're not happy doing it.
Exactly. You're going to keep them on the line of scrimmage as much as possible by default because they don't know how to cover. Well, now between Van Ginkel, Grenard, and Turner, you've got some flexibility here.
All right. Before we wrap this up, the linebacking core will be totally different.
You didn't ask me what the whole key to the defense is this year.
All right. What is
the key to the key to success on defense this year? Is going to be the development of Mekhi Blackmon, Caleb Evans. Byron Murphy is who he is. We know who he is, but those two guys. Because we didn't draft at the corner position. We didn't, make it a priority in free agency. And you look back at last year and the situations where the defense really struggled or gave up big plays. The corner position, because of how this defense is played and how teams want to get the ball to the outside and these guys having to tackle in space. I mean, Mekhi Blackmon makes one play against Denver, right at the end of the game. If he figures out how to play against taller receivers, because he's going to go against guys he's given up 4 or 5 inches to, he's got to figure that out. He's got to figure out and becoming a better tackler in space. But all those that group, and I'm forgetting some other guys that are in there too. Andrew Booth, right? Yeah. Another high draft pick. That group, that room, those corners. If those guys in that room can make a leap in their ability to play, then this defense will make that same leap. Because it took a lot of work to get from 31st to 15-ish.
Yep.
It's going to take twice as much work to get from 15 into the top 10.
All right.
So that cornerback room, in my opinion, is going to be the most important part. What happens with them.
Thank you so much for the extended conversation.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We will see you soon.
Really? Good.
Sure.
All right.
You can come back anytime you want.
Whew.
All right.